Okay, I'm back again doing these Airsoft Facebook chats. Today I've got Rob Knorr. He's the CEO of a squad called the Wolf Pack. I'm going to be asking him some questions just like I did the other guys that I had on the channel, and we're going to go through answers back and forth. Okay, I'm going to go with the questions now. The first question: what are you doing during this COVID-19 isolation period with Airsoft? What are you working on, Airsoft, or are you working on anything during it with Airsoft?
So right now, our team tech, who you know, Joe Catalano, is actually working on a few different replicas for the team. Uh, my M27 was just cleaned out, checked, new hop up, bucking, and a few things like that, just to make sure that it's good to go for the season. We have some extra time.
Yeah.
Fortunately, that's the only good part of this. Really, is that we have extra time to get everything ready to go for the season and to test fire, just like when we were up at your place just to check things out right before all this happened.
Yeah.
He has two other teammates' guns at the moment, checking those out as well. New pistons are going in. It gives him a little more time to be able to breathe and get things done without having me rush up. There's a game next week or 2 weeks from now.
Mm-hmm.
So, that there's not much I can say about this situation that's good, but there is that, is we have more time.
Now, I actually have your Bison fixed too. Put the new hop up bucking in that one and nub. So that's been working good. That's another one that's fixed up. Is there anything else
Yes,
you're doing?
thank you.
Yeah. Is there anything else that's keeping you guys occupied?
Well, thankfully the group chat we have definitely helps keep everyone together and interested. It's hard right now keeping everyone focused on airsoft at all when there's all these other things going on, especially the bad things. People out of work and such, other money issues. So giving people a place to be able to vent or just have the team to go to just to chat for a little bit, take their mind off of things, is definitely helping for a few people, I'd say.
All right. Okay, we might as well jump into the next question. When do you expect to go back to playing Airsoft on a regular basis?
All right. Well, a regular basis, I think at this point it's going to be at least until the end of the summer, until things are back to normal, where there's normal schedule. Personally, I would like to get back out there as soon as possible. I would play in May, in the beginning of May, if there was a game. Obviously, I would still try to be as safe as possible, face covering on at all times, keeping a distance. That's easier said than done on the field, but with smaller games, it's not that hard.
Right.
Now, I would say that goes for every member of the team to make their own decision, how safe you feel, what your risk factor is, and who you might else infect in your family, things like that. But personally, I've been itching to play, and I would be willing to take minor risks to be able to do so. However, again, that's up to every person and their own decisions on when they would like to get back out there. But I'd like to do it as soon as possible.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, next question. What kind of impact will this have on the airsoft fields that you frequent? What do you think that'll happen to them?
Well, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be good. We ended last season with losing CNC, which was a big hit to our area. We already don't have a lot of fields as it is in a radius around us, and losing such a great field was already a hit. We started off this season with every field shut down during this crisis, and that means money's not coming in. I have no idea if they are able to get money through any of these small business loans or anything else that's going on for resources, but I've been worried about that a lot. Bigger fields like EMR, they will survive. EMR is going to survive places like skirmish, ambush. I think that they have enough going on besides just airsoft paintball that once everything else comes back up, they will have quite a revenue stream still coming in. But the smaller fields, places like Iron Triangle or even Atlas, the newer fields, places that have a small margin right now that need to survive, and you're talking half the season, maybe longer, is going to be gone.
Right.
And that money isn't going to come back. People, you can't just make up those weekends; they're gone.
Do you
So
do you think there's going to be a big influx of people when the stuff starts up? Instead of like an open play that normally had like 30, 40 people, you'll see 100 people there. Do you think that's going to happen?
that's a great question. And, I want to believe that's exactly what I'm going to see. But the other issue I see with that is the financial impact on so many people right now.
Yeah.
As I think a lot of people want to play, but the question is, can they? Can they afford to play?
Mm.
Newer players that I count on to bring people onto my team every year, to just bring new people on. They might not have the money this year after all
Right.
this happened to be able to play now, or might have to sell the gear they already bought before all this happened. So I think we'll see more people, but the question is, can they sustain it?
The thing of it is, too, Skirmish no longer does airsoft. They said it's an insurance thing. And EMR makes a lot more money doing paintball than they ever did airsoft. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I am touching base with a field called Paintball Asylum. It's in Tannersville. They've never done airsoft before, but I have approached him and I'm trying to get a conversation going with him. But it might be the same thing like Skirmish. The cost of insurance to insure for airsoft might be a lot of money. So fields like R&M too, I don't know if they're going to keep going doing stuff.
R&M, that's a good one right there too. Also, that can they survive the financial impact without some type of assistance? And I hope so, but that's a great question. To touch back on what you just said there, though, about that police paintball asylum, maybe they would have the same issue with insurance, but I honestly don't really see the difference between a large 68 caliber paintball hitting you at 200, 250 FPS and a small 6 millimeter BB hitting you at 350, 400 FPS. So I feel like there's some kind of cop out there that maybe they're not explaining it right to the insurance, or they're just really not trying. Now I could be wrong here. I don't want to sit here and say that's the truth, but
well, paintball
maybe this place.
yeah, paintball always is a more economic. You get more money out of it. Not only do
Yes.
you sell the equipment there, you sell the paintball. Some fields like EMR want you to buy their paint there. That's
Oh yeah.
$65 a case. You could end up going there and spending $200 on a day, and plus whatever fees he's got and things like that. He makes a lot more money. That's like OTP. They make more money on paintball than they do airsoft. That's all these paintball fields, I think, like you said, will bounce back because they make the money on paintball. On airsoft, they're only getting the entrance fee. They don't really sell any more stuff to us. Now, EMR was selling BBs and stuff, but still, most of the other places, they don't sell stuff like that. They have paintball stuff they sell.
You're absolutely right.
Mm.
Especially, like you said, the money, the profit margin just isn't there when you
Right.
you factor in all the gear, the rentals, everything else. Plus, paintball rentals are a lot easier to take care of than airsoft rentals are.
Oh,
You
God,
know
yeah.
that one personally.
Yeah.
Uh, so, maybe though this place, I try to have hope for a new place like this. Maybe they'll see that there's some extra money to be made in airsoft and a new community to be built. Especially in this area where there are not many other fields, and I'm hopeful that maybe they'll come around and good things might happen.
Oh, excellent. Okay, we're going to jump into the next question here. We're going to talk about, switch gears a little bit. Social media. What do you think of the aspects of players on social media continuing to question about when fields are going to be open, when they can go out playing, things like that? Are they aware of the risks, or do you think it's just they're not thinking about that?
Okay, so I to start off, I sympathize with these people that are asking this. I do. I completely understand. We only have so much time in the year. The time is not coming back, and you have to get out there while the weather's nice. However, this is an unprecedented situation. This has never happened like this before in our lifetime. So, what are we supposed to do? We don't even know all the risks yet, or even all the factors of this virus. It just appeared. So, for all we know, it's much more dangerous than it is now. I think that a lot of people, especially younger, that they understand with all the info that's out there that even if they were to contract the virus, their risk of dying from it is negligible. So I think they're not taking it as seriously as someone who might be older or someone who's at risk,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why they just see it as I'll just go out there, and what does it matter? Even if I got sick, I'm going to recover like a cold anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they're not taking it that seriously. And I don't agree with that. They definitely should take it more seriously, but I understand where they're coming from.
I have one thing that I want to ask you about,
Sure.
get your opinion on. there is a new group that came out, and it's Reopen PA. I was invited this. They're talking not only about airsoft, they're talking about work and everything like that. And I understand people are out of work and they're upset, but a couple of people also mentioned airsoft, Reopen PA so they can play airsoft. And I saw numbers this morning. There's 1,600 people got infected today.
In this county.
Yeah, and I'm like,
today. Okay.
Pennsylvania-wise. I look at every day's numbers, and I'm like, they're saying, oh, we're leveling off. Well, yeah, we were leveling off yesterday, but today it went up 200, almost 200. So, and the number of deaths went down, but the number of infected went up. So we're not, the curve is not flat yet. It's still moving around. And those people that are infected in like a week, they could be having some serious problems. Maybe a couple of them could die. So, what do you think about that aspect? I know you're working right now too, so.
Yes. Now, I do have lung damage from a few years back from a MRSA infection.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say I'm higher risk, but I mean, if it did infect me, obviously, it goes for the lungs, so
yeah,
it could be an issue. Well, you said right there, the number of people infected, even in our county, we live in the same county, so in our county alone, it's above 1,600. I believe 1,700 as of today, 1,700 some. So what people need to remember with that is that's the number of people that are confirmed infected. That could be up to 5 to 10 times that number that are actually infected.
Right.
And haven't been tested. So, and with the incubation period of, up to 10 days, I believe, maybe longer.
2 to 10 days,
who knows how many people could actually be infected with this thing and just be asymptomatic or, just fighting it off, so you don't know how sick they are. And again, in my case, I'm working out. They're offering us overtime and everything else, double time for overtime, just because there's so many people that are just not there. Right. And the economy still needs to run. So I got a little off track, but to get back to your original question, the people that want to reopen the state, again, I do understand. I try to keep my personal aspects out of things like this. Personally, I am more for personal freedoms, but I like to take a measured approach, and I think it's somewhere in the middle on this. I think we should start opening things back up, but slowly, and with those who are not at risk. As healthy individuals that are in the age range that this is extremely survivable, and they should have the option to go back, not be made to go back. No one person can tell someone else that they have to risk their lives for any reason. That's just not right. So if you feel that you're not safe, you should be able to stay in place until you do feel safe. And I think that isn't an issue right now. I know my workplace, at least, will let you stay home at the moment, and you won't be fired or have any type of penalty. You can just ride it out.
Okay, we're going to jump into another question, a little bit change of pace here. What do you think about new player questions and requests about airsoft gear, replicas, things like that you're seeing on social media? Do you think it's more during this isolation because people have more time, or is it genuine that new players and stuff more players are coming on the scene?
All right, so personally, for our social media, we had a lot of questions and requests coming in right near the beginning of the season in early February into early March. And then as soon as all this started, the whole COVID crisis started, all of that really dropped off. I haven't had much of anything outside of the team itself ever since that started. We still have a lot of engagement across all our social media, but people asking about gear or asking about joining the team has just dropped right off to basically nothing at this point. So that's a stark difference from this time of year.
I think that maybe if like things open up, you might get some more of that. Might get more questions. Might get more people interested in joining the team. So
yeah, absolutely. I think there's just they just might have other issues again, maybe financially or just bigger problems to worry about right now.
Yeah. Okay, next question we're going to talk about is replicas. What would you personally recommend when somebody asks you what's the first replica I should get?
Okay, so over the past about 5.5 years now that I've been playing, I have learned a few things, not nearly as much as you, about which replicas to go with. But to start off, a a good starter rifle, typically in the M4 or AK pattern, is the best way to go, just because of the ease of use, ease of repair, compared to some more unique models. Even the MP5s, gas blowbacks, things like that, they can be a lot more labor intensive,
Right.
and you can have more issues just because it's a more complex system.
Yeah.
So we try to steer new players towards the just basic rifle models. Snipers are great, and a lot of people love to start off with snipers because they see all the great videos of all the videos on YouTube with the kill cams and everything else, and that's great. But once you actually get out on the field with one, you understand that it's a lot harder to use than you would think, especially if there's people out there with full auto. The engagement distance alone, most people don't understand when they first start off. So they don't understand they have to be at least 100 feet away from someone, and they're only getting that one shot, and they have to pull the bolt, while someone else can just be lighting rounds down at them. So I try to steer people away from that. Let them get some experience with a regular replica first, and then move on to snipers, heavy weapons, things like that.
Do you have a price range that you like? Is that something you should consider? Tell the guys to consider if they have a budget or whatever.
Yeah, we try to stay. I usually go for you get what you pay for.
Right.
That's not always true, but in airsoft, the cheaper you go, the more issues you're typically going to have in the long run. So we try to go around the between 180 to 250 range for a replica, just so you have something starting off that doesn't need work done to it for a while. You want something that's going to be solid right off the bat. So that's what we try to do, is go with that price range and then work up from there.
Now, you already touched on it, and the second part of the question is, what would you not recommend as somebody have as a first starter rifle replica?
Well, besides the heavier weapons like that, starting off like the sniper rifles, there's certain brands I hesitate to mention actual specific brands, only because you can have lemons and gems in every single brand.
Right.
It's just, in my experience, there's some brands that you'll have more lemons than gems. But instead of naming them, again, it comes down to price range. If the replica is $150 or under, there's a good chance that it's not going to be that great to start off with. That's not always the case, like I said, but if you buy one that's around the $250 price range and you compare that to one that's $1 to $150, you're usually going to see some stark differences. So it's your money, but how effectively do you want to spend it?
Okay, we're going to jump off the questions now, and we're going to basically, how is this affecting your airsoft team, Rob? What's concerns or things you're having a problem with or not having a problem with on your team?
Well, thankfully, earlier I mentioned the group chat we have, and thankfully that's been keeping everyone together pretty well. But I've had tons of questions, just like you've seen on a lot of the Facebook pages. When are the fields going to open back up? What are we going to do this year? What's going on with a bunch of the different games? Again, Operation Downfall, DMR, one of our favorite games of the year for the team. That's been pushed back. We don't even know when yet.
I haven't seen a schedule on that. Have you? A date?
No, they did not put a new date up yet. EMR and Otherworld Milsim, they are working on that. They are going to get another date. They have said that much. They're just not sure yet when. Otherworld Milsim has other games at EMR this year, so they just have to work through all the scheduling conflicts because of the paintball games too. With everything canceled right now, so that's causing the team quite a bit of grief trying to figure that one out. And just in general, just like everyone else, when are we going to be able to play?
Wasteland. Do they have a date for Wasteland?
Yes, thankfully that one is on the EMR schedule. That is September, so it was not affected, thankfully. Or August. I'm sorry, that might be August.
Yeah. Well, what I'm hoping to do, Rob, for your team, the Patriots, and even Dan Westfield's guys, is people said, Don, when do you open your field up? And I said, well, when I feel safe, okay, which was not in March and not in April, which is why I canceled a lot of stuff. And I'm thinking maybe even canceling all the stuff that I was thinking about in May. So I'm looking at June. Okay.
I wouldn't blame you on canceling May for your own safety.
But the thing that I want to do is I want to open not up to the public, but open up to the three groups to have games anytime they want, any Sunday, any Saturday, because there's not going to be a lot of games out there. So if we guys want to have get-togethers on Saturday or Sunday or both days, maybe some people can come Saturday, some people can Sunday. I have no problem with that. All right, unless there's something radical going on in my life, the field can be used. That's what I want to do with it this year.
Gotcha.
So I'd like. Go ahead.
That makes sense. Again, being higher risk like you are, I'm sure you want to play too. Of course you do.
Yeah.
You're the one of the main people that got me into this. Without your help, there wouldn't be an NEP in Wolfpack. So, we can't let anything happen to you. So for your own personal safety, you know what I mean? It makes perfect sense. And like I told you privately before all this, I support you 100%, and so does the team. And whatever decision you make, we have your back. And the same with the other fields in the area. I can't blame anyone for not wanting to risk, even again, liability. If someone comes to your field and gets sick, is there a case there? I don't know, but I bet a lawyer can make one somehow.
Yeah.
So,
well, see, that's the big thing too. I'm always worried about somebody getting hurt and doing all this stuff in the waiver, but the waiver doesn't cover illness from other people that are there. How does that work?
Anyway.
Yeah. So there are some updates we got to do on the field. I've been planning stuff, but when it's like 20 in the morning and like doesn't get till like now it's like 50 degrees out. Now it's nice, but every morning when it's 20 degrees, it's hard to get motivated to go out there. And I'm really not gonna go out there myself and climb ladders and do stuff like that, trying to fix things. So it's one of those things that I have to wait till I get some help. Sabeki, you, the gang, the Wolfpack, some of the Patriots, because the field is over 10 years old now, and stuff is falling down. And there's a lot of improvements that I want to do, but it needs to be warmer. I need at least one or two more guys to help me out, and stuff will get better. It's just we got to work on it a little bit,
Well, it seems like the past few years doing those field cleanup days definitely made a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And, even though we had to push back the day for this year, there's no reason to not still be able to do it. And I'm sure we can get plenty of people up there to help out. Even if we do the cleanup 3/4 of the day and then a quarter of the day we just get a few games in, just keep everyone motivated and interested.
Yeah.
And we could do more than one of those if we had to. Everyone's going to want to get out and do something, so I think it won't be hard to get people up there.
What we have though, Rob, is when we're looking, and I'll do it by numbers, the block is falling right down. Building 11 has gone from like 20 degrees to like 40. It's laying right over. There's a couple of trees fell down. They're down on the ground. My whole thing this year is moving the lower fence down 70 feet and building another building down below.
Wow.
We've got it laid out on paper what we want to do. And the same thing with the field, changing it up from little 8-foot buildings to buildings like the center building, the 8-foot with the 4 outriders with the 4-foot walls, and put it in a structured pattern. Less buildings, more cover. It doesn't make sense, but it is, because you have a solid 8-foot building in the center, and on the outside left and right is an 8-foot wall, out 8 feet from the building. Okay, and on the upper and lower sides is a 4-foot wall out 8 foot from the building. And each building has a double window, which you can see through with a camo net hanging. So you can't shoot directly through. It might bounce the BB off. But
nice.
you have a solid wall on the outside and a 4-foot wall here. So you can move in, shoot over, go to the side, be protected from shots across the way. And the structure, when you lay it out, you get lanes, but you also can hook up tarps across those lanes and change the outline of the
Temporary
field.
cover.
Yeah. Right now, with all the buildings we have, we're going to lose 5 buildings, but we're going to gain that much more cover because of those outriders.
It'll be a lot cheaper for maintenance too, especially the amount of buildings. The field is great for the amount of buildings, but when it comes down to it, the sustainability of the maintenance and replacing those buildings, the cost of it gets to be too much over time.
Well, that's the big thing too. When I did the buildings originally, I just built them out of regular 2x4s and 7/16 OSD plywood. Well, the bottoms on all of them rotted off. Then I decided to do treated on the top and bottom. Well, they were lasting good. Building number 12, which for everybody that's watching this, building number 12 is completely made out of treated 2x4s. It's like iron. Now, granted, the OSD that's like near the ground is all like tattered on the bottom, but that building is solid. That'll be the last building we tear down because it's just solid. It's not falling apart. Where other buildings like building 6 and 7, the walls are flaky. Building 10, no, building 15, I put my fingers through the wall. That's how soft the wall is. So
And
think
not gonna
about
stop
that.
the BBs.
Yeah, it's not going to stop the BBs. And if somebody hits that the right way, they could go through it. All right. So, there's going to be a lot of maintenance done. And I know the big change right away is going to be knocking down the block, knocking down building 16, and then starting these new structures, the new layout. Once we do that, it's going to totally change the dynamic of the compound. Plus, this new building that we're planning on building down below in the lower field is now going to make that more playable because it's going to be an 8x16 building with a 4-foot tower above 8. So it'll be 4 foot above 8. Oh, got a cat. So I don't know. I think like once we get everything straightened out, I think it's going to be June. I really do. It's going to be June till we're actually out doing stuff on the field on a regular basis. Getting the people out, getting you guys out, Patriots out, and Dan's group out too.
Well, I doubt it'll just be your field. I'm sure some of the bigger fields are going to make the same decision. The smaller ones too, and plus just everything as a whole. I think the country itself will start opening back up in May, and the non-essential things like airsoft fields and what have you will probably follow after that.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Rob. I really appreciate you coming on and talking with me today.
Always a pleasure, my friend. I'll see you very soon.
All right.
One grenade launcher. Right. Calico had the crashed 9mm helical mag.
Right.
SA-80. That's too fucking small.
Oh, that's not right. No.
Wow.